we're going to be talking today. Why is ABS's training superior? Look, folks, one thing is this was started off by a gentleman by the name of Patrick Phillips. Patrick was a professional trainer in his own right. He had done a lot of training with Apple computers and he did a lot of training for the government and so many different things. But once he and Linda found out that they could actually do some work from home in this whole medical billing thing, and this how the whole thing got started in the first place, which Adam grew up in, he was able to use his expertise in training, doing corporate trainings, doing all sorts of different types of things, and implemented a lot of what he knew into the roles of what we're doing here at American Business Systems. And folks, again, you got to remember that ABS has been around for 31 years. So we've had a lot of perfection, a lot of things that we were able to do and improve on as we kind of go through. So one of the things that I want to do today is actually teach you a couple of things. So yes, today is a teaching day. It's an education day for me to you. And what I want to do is share with you a couple of things that you're going to need to know right off the bat. So you didn't have to pay for this training. This is almost some of the basic stuff that we will go through our training once you go through it. So, but I thought this is just a perfect opportunity and avenue for us to give back to you. And that's just the way we always looked at this. What's the best way that we can benefit those that are on the call today, whether it's Amy or Fazelle or Fidel and Christy and Nahid, Opie, Shirley, those of you that are on the call today, and Shirley, thank you for popping in there and let me know that you're there. We want to give back to you and give you a little education here. So the first part of the webinar is that's what it's going to be. It's all going to be some things I can teach you. So that's and I feel pretty confident in teaching it. Obviously, I've had two medical billing companies before, and I worked here at American Business Systems, going on my 18th year or 17th year. So I've been around this a little bit, kind of know a little bit might be what I'm talking about here, but it doesn't mean I know everything because things do change over the years. And so that's why we've got an incredible support team that's going to be able to help you improve in everything that you're going to be doing. All right, so let's first take a look at this diagram. Okay, so what this is what's known as the revenue cycle management sphere. Okay, call it your orbit or whatever you want to call it. This is what it is. And so it starts from 1 and it goes to 5 and it kind of starts all over again. So you can take some notes here. One of the things I want you to start talking to yourself about is that you're not in medical billing. Okay, so what you are in is revenue cycle management. Because a lot of us come into this business. I remember whenever I first met American Business Systems, I almost remember looking at it from my computer. It was whenever those computers, the monitors were like a big old thing and it's set in a big old on a desk, and now everything's kind of flat and all in one, all encased in one. So remember the days where we had the big desktop things and the big old monitors and everything. And I remember on the internet, on the dial-up, you remember that kind of that scratchy thing you'd have to do. You'd dial up and go. Anyway, and that wasn't a great impression of the old way to get online, but some of you might remember it. You're probably goofing off, laughing at me at this point, but you know, I remember being introduced to American Business Systems, and one of the things that Patrick and the rest of the team was talking about that is to help us understand that we're not just becoming medical billers, okay? You are becoming a business owner in a revenue cycle management company, okay? So that's very, very important for you to establish. When you're talking to business partners or you're talking to your family or you're talking with others and you're trying to get their buy-in to see, is this going to be good for me? Do you think this might be good for me? You might be getting some counseling done, some business development, and just kind of working through all of this out. You're just trying to figure out, is this going to be a good fit for me? And one of the things I want to help you with is your vocabulary and some of the things that you can be talking about. Revenue cycle management is one of those. And so establishing yourself right now as a professional and establishing yourself with some credibility, this is how I want you to start talking about what revenue cycle management is. Because what you don't want to do is people thinking that you're just becoming a medical biller. Now, you may be doing the art and the act of medical billing as an owner in the beginning, but you as a revenue cycle management owner, you're encompassing a lot more than just making sure claims get out the door. But let's talk about that. So the first thing you see there is data collections. Well, data collections starts with patient registration and claims preparation. Now you've got to understand there is a part of revenue cycle management that actually begins at that doctor's office. Okay. And that's when the patient walks into the door and that patient has to fill out those forms and they're giving that information so that that group of people can then see the patient and then get their insurance information in there. And what will happen, this is where right here at the beginning, at 01 there, you see that. A lot of times claims are going to become denied because a transfer of information. Sometimes the patient doesn't write all their information down. Sometimes they've got an old insurance card, especially between end of 2024 into 2025. You've got this whole different thing of what's happening where you've got patients that are getting new insurances, so they transfer. They may have been with Blue Cross Blue Shield last year. Now they're with Aetna this year, and they don't carry that information. So when they go to the doctor at the first part of the year, they don't get all of that information done right off the bat. So that first part of revenue cycle management is huge. So making sure that that gets done is a part of some of the things that we actually help you to bring to some discovery to those doctors that you might be getting in business with. But then also you get the claims preparation. This is whenever you get the codes or the information from the doctor's office to do number 2, claims transmission. This is actually putting in sometimes coding. You're going to be putting in procedures and diagnosis codes, and I'll explain that to you in just a moment. And then finally, you're pressing a button to go click. There goes the claim. It's going to Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield, or Medicare, whatever it might be. Once that claim gets to there, now from your system, it has got to go through what's called a clearinghouse, and the clearinghouse will judge it at that point whether those claims get through to finally the Blue Cross Blue Shields or Aetnas or Cignas or Medicare, because a claim could actually get rejected at the clearinghouse level. Now, the reason I'm telling you about that is not to confuse you, but to help you understand that our systems already have the clearinghouse built inside of it. So instead of having to do just claims processing and hoping and praying that that goes through your clearinghouse and not get rejected, within our system, you'll know whether that claim is going forward just because of our clearinghouse is already built inside of it. And if there is a problem, it's going to let you know to fix it so that when you do send it, it's going out as a clean claim. So that's going to be a huge, huge help. And that's where, again, you're going to be able to recover the doctor's revenue. Okay. Then whenever it gets to the insurance company, finally, they're going to process it and they're going to do all their adjudication. And that's what's going to happen next. You know, you see right down there, number 3, claims management. What are you going to do with it? So you've got some electronics written remittance advice. That means the information that's coming into the system from the insurance company, you got to match it up, or the system's actually going to match it up. You just got to reconcile. So just think of this as at the end of the month, you got your checks. If anybody still writes checks, and you have to reconcile it like your checkbook. Well, that's all claims management is. It's just reconciliation of claims that were sent out, claims that got paid. How much did they get paid? You know, is there any patient responsibility left there? Posting payments, all that is number 3. Finally, you get to 4, you get to follow-ups. Now, this is where you may have to deal with some claims that didn't get paid, okay? And there may be some secondary claims. You know, some people have a primary insurance and a secondary insurance. So once the primary pays, then secondary can pay. You can't just send it out and then, you know, secondary pays before primary. So there's a little bit of work there that has to be done, but that's what's called the revenue cycle management. And if there's any denials, you just fix those, ship that back through and get those claims done. And then finally, you're going to get to the reporting. So this is reporting back to the doctor to say, hey, this is what we did. This is what we collected. I'm working on maybe a few handful of claims, but don't worry about it. I'm going to get those paid. And analysis for practice recommendation. So you can see all of that. And then it just starts all over again. So folks, if you hear what I just said, I really walked you through the entire cycle of revenue cycle management. Okay. So that's what I want you to start thinking, and it's called RCM. So if you got anybody out there that's kind of knowledgeable, I'm going to be talking in if you're kind of trying to communicate to friends and families and others and you're trying to get their opinions, I let them know that you're getting into a revenue cycle management market, okay? Because the market for revenue cycle management is huge. Just go out there and Google what is the size of the revenue cycle market in the United States. You're going to find out it is huge, okay? So that's one thing I want you to be thinking about. Now, medical billing versus coding. That's what I'm going to talk about to you right now. So a little education on this as well. What does a medical coder do? What does a medical biller do? Okay, so a medical coder can literally hear from a transcript or written notes and take those notes and actually create the codes for the doctor. All right. Coders are still needed today, but again, with the advancement of artificial intelligence and the way that the new practice management systems and the electronic medical records platforms are, I wouldn't say they're becoming obsolete. They're just becoming more focused on certain codes and keeping up with codes and extensions that might go on codes or anything else like that. Those folks are still needed, okay? And there's still, people that are getting into what's called, certified professional coders. So not taking anything away from coders, okay? But coding the way that it used to be is not so much more in demand as it is for revenue cycle management companies or revenue cycle management people to do what they do. Okay, so basically they can take a set of notes, a surgeon's notes, and then take those notes and turn those into medical codes. And then that's how the insurance companies and the clearinghouses all identify, yep, we got to get this claim paid. Over on the right-hand side, you see medical billers. Okay, so medical billers, they're just inputting data. They're taking those codes and inputting them into a system for payment. That's all they are, okay? So that's why I want you to understand that you're much greater than just a medical biller or just a medical coder. So the question might come up, do I need to be a medical coder to own a revenue cycle management company? No. We've got a lot of folks here that are business owners who a lot of them still don't even do the billing. They are a revenue cycle management company owner, okay? And that may be all you want to be. You could go hire sales reps, you can hire billers, you can hire coders, you can make this into whatever you want it to be. In the beginning, most folks do everything, okay? And including the coding, because we've got a solution for coding, and I'll show that to you here in just a little bit. Moving on. So we're going to talk about what are codes? What are these medical codes? So basically, it's turning words into numbers so that insurance companies will pay a claim to the physician. That's all it gets down to. So codings include a diagnosis code. That's the first code that is put on electronic medical records, or if you were still doing the old paper way, or a doctor were still doing it the old paper way, that doctor would be circling, I'm seeing this patient because they've got a cough, or they've got high blood pressure, or they've got an ingrown toenail, or whatever it may be. It may be a series of diagnoses that patient may be seeing. But if y'all remember, you go to the doctor, they would come in with that manila folder, and one of those folders there had a sheet that the doctor would see you, and one of those numbers or certain things that the doctor would check off there is the diagnosis code. Now, again, the doctor knew what it was that you were having problems with, but did he or she keep up with? They probably knew what the diagnosis codes were in anyway, because they're always seeing the same thing. It just becomes part of what they do. But they had a sheet there, and it had those numbers on there. It was like kind of up at the top was all of your information as a patient. Underneath that was a set of diagnosis codes. And then underneath that was a set of what's called procedure codes. Okay. So you had the patient's name, all their demographics and everything. Underneath that was a set of diagnosis codes and then a procedure code. I remember that's how we used to do billing. The doctors would actually give us that information, circle in all that. Sometimes we have to go, gosh, I wonder if he meant to circle this or that. And sometimes we have to go back and get the doctor what did you mean? And anyway, so that was the way that billing used to be. Now with electronic medical records, the doctors sometimes are just clicking through their screen, touching it or whatever. Now what I'm seeing is doctors are actually just dictating in their computer, and the system is giving the doctor the suggested diagnosis codes and the procedure codes. You can see why I'm not really saying that medical coders are going extinct, but because there's still a need for that. But on the other hand, a lot of this is being done electronically. Okay. So all that to say is it's really the doctor's responsibility to provide medical codes to any billing company or revenue cycle management company. So those are the medical billing basics. So we start off with the revenue cycle management cycle, okay, or that big old orbit 1 through 5. I've been able to share with you a little bit the difference between medical coders and medical billers. Uh, what happens to the codes whenever they're the set of diagnosis codes, and then there's a set of procedure codes, and those procedures codes is basically again what the doctor has done for the patient, and that's really what the money is attached to. How long because that code will tell the insurance company how long did they spend time with that patient, how extensive that visit was. The doctors can add more procedure codes, so like they've done a biopsy, or they gave an injection, or they did some type of other treatment. So there could be 3 or 4, sometimes 5 different procedures that doctor did for that patient. Okay. All right. So a full medical billing coding. Okay. So CodeWrite is for you to help you establish who you are and your credibility. So remember, I mentioned to you that you are a revenue cycle management company. You are the owner of a revenue cycle management company that has back behind the scene certified professional coders when needed. Now, there is a certain acronym that's used out there. It's called PRN. PRN means that as needed. Sometimes you'll see that on your medical on your medicines. Take as needed, or PRN, just as needed. That's what that means. And so you've got certified professional coders as PRN certified professional coders. You can use them as needed. And so that's a wonderful way in which you can establish your credibility once you start here. So none of you that are on the call today, all as many as that are on the call today, none of you have to worry about whether you have to become a certified professional coder. Remember, you're the owner of a company that employs certified professional coders when needed. Now, obviously, when the doctor needs that service, you are going to charge that doctor extra for that service because they are going to use your certified professional coders. So this whole service of CodeWrite is there for you to help you get established, to present your credibility, and to really get you involved early on in the process. Okay, so that's a little bit about training. Yeah, again, I could take hours upon hours to get you trained. We would have to tell you, how we're going to help you get your first client, what you're going to do, and all of that part of it. What you're going to do to help you once that doctor signs, or help them, get them going. And then what about implementation? We're going to teach you all of that. Obviously, we cannot squeeze hardly a tenth of that within this webinar. I mean, we're already at the bottom of the hour, and I need to kind of hurry up here because I want to make sure that I don't lose track of time here. But what I want to do is ensure to you that American Business System is here to train you. We've been around, like I said, for 31 years, and we've pretty much got this whole training down to a science, okay? So what I'm going to show you next is just some very big highlights, some big rocks, so to say, of what we're going to teach you and train you in the training class, okay? So the first thing you're going to see here, now if you want to, you can take a screenshot of this next screen that I'm about to show you right here. Or you can simply ask your sales rep here that you're working with here at American Business Systems that you'd like to get a copy of this or a copy of the entire slide deck. You can do that as well. Okay. So I'm going to go over these as best I can, as in little a time as I can, but kind of give you a good overview and a general overview. And again, remember, we're talking about why our training is superior, because at the end, I'm going to tell you a little secret about something else that we're doing. So in your initial training, to get your certification to become a certified medical revenue manager through MIRMA, you're going to go through 10 modules. Okay. That first module is setting up with an introduction. A lot of the materials that I kind of shared with you here just in this one little webinar, I pull from our introduction out of there. So like I said, you got a little bit of this training already. But obviously I can't get into what is the practice workflow or really the introduction or intro to medical billing. But from there, in module 2, you're going to learn about our software, the iClaim platform, which is what's called a practice management system, and then the EMRX, which is our electronic medical records platform. Then we're going to also go through the pricing of those for you so that you'll be prepared that when a doctor might ask you, well, what are you going to charge me to do my billing? At that point, you're going to figure out whether you're going to charge that doctor the use of that particular platform, or are you going to build it into your percentage? That's the way that I did it. It made it so much easier. I didn't have to do anything except, hey, doctor, this is what we're going to charge you in a percentage if we get to do your billing. Okay. All right. Third module. You're going to go through what's called DentaMax. Now, DentaMax is separate from iClaim. iClaim is dealing with claims in the medical professional field. That would be your primary care physicians, all of your cardiology specialties, all your podiatry specialties, all of your nephrology specialties. All of those is what's called professional coding. Okay, and that's you're gonna do that on what's called a CMS 1500 form. Okay, just gave you another little bit of information on some education. Now, on the DentaMax, that is dental billing. Dental billing is so different from medical billing because those aren't the same. They're not using the same codes, okay? I wouldn't even know what form the DentaMax is on because I never have done dental billing. But we had so much of a request over the years that, hey, do you have a dental platform to do billing? And so we reached out and searched and have that available. So we're going to teach you that particular platform as well. Now, underneath that, it's called what's called Choice Pay and then Quick Collect. These are both revenue cycle management services. Okay, Choice Pay is giving the patients a choice of how they're going to pay the doctor. Quick Collect is whenever there are outstanding bills or outstanding revenue that is owed by the patient to the doctor. And so Choice Pay is kind of on the front end. Quick Collect is kind of on the back end, because remember, you are a revenue cycle manager. And so part of that is trying to help the doctor get paid from the patients on the front end and also sometimes collect on the back end. So instead of sending the patients to a collection agency, we're going to run them through Quick Collect, which is a lot less expensive than utilizing a collection agency. Fourth module, you're going to go through Audit Guard. Audit Guard and CodeWrite are basically the same group of certified professional coders. This is your group. This is your group that helps you do all of the back end work, okay? Audit Guard on the front end helps do what we call more of a way in which we can check and make sure that the doctors are not going to be in fear of having to be audited by Medicare or any other insurance companies. So Audit Guard kind of goes, we can look at all the doctors' charting from behind and see if they match up and see if they would be, if they were go through an audit. That's basically what it is. It's an audit that we do, more for preventive maintenance than anything else. But if there's some things that can be tweaked, we can find where the doctors did not code properly, so they were getting actually less money, which means that they were what's known as undercoding. So that's another terminology that's talked about in medical billing, or overcoding, which is again another terminology in medical billing, which means that they are in a position where they could actually get clawed that money back on future services that they may be billing that insurance company for. Okay. And in that fourth module, you're also going to learn about HIPAA compliancy. That's what Compliancy Guard is all about. Okay. Moving on, number 5, AutoCard, Credentials Now, Doctables, and a review all are going to be done in one module. I'm not going to go through all those individually, what they are, but you're going to go through those. So that's really the bulk of everything that you're getting as a full package here. So you're going to have all these different services to go out and do what's on the left, right-hand side. And that's getting the doctors or getting the business. So 6 through 10 is getting the business side. Intro to marketing, warm marketing. We're going to help you get all that set up. By the time you get through module 6, going into module 7, you are that trainer who's going to be working with you live, just as I'm doing right now, is going to start helping you build a list, a targeted list, so that by the time you get to 8, 9, and 10, you're already in those positions, hopefully, starting your first practice analysis with a doctor. Once you complete module 9 and you learn how to use the practice analysis questionnaire, the practice analysis results and agreement, and then get those to number 10, which is presenting the proposal and doing a demo of the software, that's where we are back engaged with you and doing that. And we know that when we're doing your demonstration for your doctor, based upon the information that you grabbed from the practice analysis, that's where we're helping our brand new folks about anywhere from, if we're doing 2 of those in a day, we're helping at least close 1 of those a day. That's just how good we are, and we know that. And because we know what questions to ask and what to do going through all of that. So that gets you through module 10, implementation process, support, and jumpstart program. So once you've completed modules 1 through 10, you are then certified as a certified medical revenue company. And again, that CMRM, you can put that all over your business cards and that you're certified, and it presents a great amount of credibility to what you have here. Okay. We're at the bottom of the hour. Any questions so far? If you want to throw a couple of those questions on there, I'm going to wrap up here just real quickly with a few more slides here, kind of showing you what you're going to get on the back end. So once you get through with all your training, or when you get started going, you're going to get into what's called our licensee support site. Our licensee support site is chock full of information, so that when you've gone through all of those modules and you're through with it all, and you're thinking, well, how am I going to remember all of this? We've got all of that on our licensee support site. You can go back over every module. You can now those are recorded. That's on the licensee support site. But everything I showed you over here on this page, you're going to actually go through this with a live instructor, just like you were doing with me right here on our Zoom meeting. So, but everything over here is already recorded, so that when you get back through and you need to go back, maybe I want to learn a little bit more about that practice analysis questionnaire. Well, you go find it in here, and we'll show you exactly where to get it. And there's going to be a step-by-step process for you to go through that. Okay. So we're going to teach you everything that you're going to get. Matter of fact, as soon as you have completed your paperwork with us, which is only 5 pages long, okay? Once you get through with that, you're actually going to get this particular email to show you that what your next steps are going to be, and there's a webinar that we're going to show you how to start going through that. Okay. Teresa from California says, can you show us again the cycle so I can take a screenshot? Oh, you know what? That's on my next screen. You got it. Why don't you take a snapshot of that real quickly, okay? Because again, that's where we're going to start with you. We're going to just make sure that you go through it. You'll always have this accessible. This will always be there for you as you go through your training. Okay. You're very welcome. You're welcome, Teresa. Anytime that y'all need something, you want to take a screenshot, just say, hey, can you go back to that other screen there? I'll be more than happy to do that. All right, like I said, inside of the licensee support site, you can see right here, there's a medical billing training, and then you can open that. Obviously, you can expand that where it shows your whole screen, but there's a whole video series of every single thing, including the slide deck that goes with that particular videos. So, folks, you're not going to be without information. Now, one thing I do want to share with you is that during, again, each of those modules that you're going to be going through, you're going to have some homework, okay? So it's not like you're just going to be going, oh, it was a good training. It was all good. When you get from one module to the next, that trainer is going to have you do some work. Okay. And they're not going to move to the next module until you've accomplished learning and memorizing what an EOB is and an ERA is and what is a PM and what's an EMR versus an EHR. You're going to learn those, and you're going to have a little bit of testing to kind of go through it to make sure, because we want to make sure that you've got everything that you need. Now, one thing I will tell you as we kind of start wrapping up here is that I want you to know that American Business Systems believes in you so much that there'll never be in time in your lifespan with us here at American Business System that you will not have a lifetime of support for you and for your doctors, okay? So what that means here is whenever you've got a patient that you are engaged with, our support team is actually going to help you work your way through everything that you're going to need, okay? Now, hopefully in the next month or so, I'm going to get the chance to interview our head that's over and above over our support team to come join me again. I'd love for him to share with you really some of the success stories that he's hearing, some of the things that we're doing here. There are people that are on here that might be becoming a business owner with us here at American Business System pretty soon. You'll get to meet Tim, and I'm actually showing you a picture of him here in a little while. And then if you'd like to, you might be able to reach out to him in the beginning. But this support system, this lifetime of support is so important for you to understand. Specifically, once you've got that first client and you need another demo shown, it's our support team that actually does the demonstration for you for your doctor. And again, like I said, out of every two that we're doing, we're helping our folks close at least one of those. So, that's a pretty good return on what you're getting up from us here. And remember, the more that you put on your books, if you have one doctor or 100 doctors or maybe only 10 doctors or so, folks, there is no franchise fees or royalty fees that you're going to have to pay for us for doing these demonstrations or a continued revenue stream that you have to keep paying American Business Systems. We do truly still have a one-time investment of that $30,000, okay? And so, folks, this is what you're getting for a lifetime. So not only are you getting just the training that I shared with you and why we feel like it's superior, because again, we've crafted it over years. And obviously, can we look back and say, did we make some mistakes in training? Of course we did. But we've been doing this and perfecting this over every single year to make sure that our brand new business owners walk away from this training very, very confident about what they're going to do. Because I'm going to tell you something that you can do if you're not confident here in just a moment. But you are going to get all the marketing materials that you're going to need from us here at American Business Systems. These are actually postcards, not e-cards. These are actually postcards that is set up where you can drip market your services to a doctor. Let's say that you met a doctor at a function, maybe like even at a Chamber of Commerce luncheon, and you could tell there was a little bit of engagement there. And so what you would do, you'd go into our auto card program and you would set up a drip campaign marketing where they would get a postcard about iClaim and a little bitty note from you with your signature on it. And another 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you might send another, and you can set all this up automatically. It's just going to do it while you sleep. And the reason I share with this for you, this is how I got my first client. I met a doctor, actually did some things with him. The doctor decided not to go with us at that time, but I put him on this drip campaign. And about 3 or 4 weeks later, they called us back. And I asked them, I said, well, what made the change? They said, because you were not persistent, but what you did, you gave us information that allowed us to make the decision over time. Okay. This is so important. Then you're going to get all the professional marketing materials. Remember, I said you'll be able to carry the Myrma logo and your certification, CMRM. And you'll be to put all of that information on here because this a lot of this is pre-printed, but what you're going to do is get a custom set of prints that has your company information, your logo, your contact information on there, and any other particular logos that you want to put on there for your credibility. All right. Uh, there's some other, I'm looking through the slides here and I thought I've already covered a lot of that, so I'm gonna move on, okay? Because I want to give some time if you got some questions and make sure that we kind of wrap up on time. Also, you're gonna have a lifetime membership in our private Facebook group, okay? So ABS, you can't get there right now. You got to join American Business Systems before you get into this group here, okay? But once you become over here, now you get to see all the other licensees or business owners that are with American Business Systems. Because now you're going to stay in this group, and if you're on Facebook and there's a new post there, and you've got it tracked to where it'll alert you or notify you when something new's on there, folks, this is awesome because this is where you're going to hear from other people. You're going to see, oh, I just got a new doctor. This is the type of doctor. This is what I'm having to do. You're going to see some postings out there that to say you need to do this if you're looking for this particular doctor. Here's some new marketing campaigns that I'm doing. You're going to want to be a part of that. Okay. You're also going to have a professional website that is designed just for you. Okay. Now we've got a lot of different templates in which you can choose from. There's some things that we can tweak there, but you're getting that as well. And I've already mentioned to you about the lifetime access to our private support portal, which is obviously the ABS LSS. And then on top of all of that, unlike what we're doing today, we do these webinars on Wednesdays at 4 o'clock Central. Typically on Fridays, several times a month, we actually do some virtual training events. Oops, let me get back over to here. I opened up the wrong one there. Let's wanted to click on this button right here. Nope. I'll get over there. I clicked on something there on the screen that was, I got it connected there. So let me get over to this particular, there we go. That's what I was trying to share with you. Something kept popping up on front of me. But we do live virtual training events. Sometimes these are with new services here. And remember, folks, once you join us here at American Business Systems, there's never, we never go back and say, hey, you know what? We're going to add this new service. Will you please give us another amount of money? No, we never do that. Okay. There are a lot of things that we add throughout the year. We've added over the 31 years that we've been around. They've all been there to help you grow your business. Okay. So just understand that's how we operate. All right. As I kind of start wrapping up here, I've got 3 frequently asked questions. Okay. So what I want to do here, I'm going to share these questions here and these answers. Some of you may be thinking about the questions already, so might as well just share them with you right now. Okay. So the first one that we get a lot of questions on when we do this particular topic is, how long do I have access to the course? Well, you actually have a lifetime of access to the course. Now, obviously that might be through the licensee support site because you'll have access to that at 24 hours, 7 days a week. Okay. But there are some people who get into this business in January, like they are now, and something occurs. And all of a sudden you have to put a pause on the training that you may have got into your second module or your third module or whatever. And let's say that you had to put it aside for a month or 2 months. Okay. When in your time to ready to come back in here, we're going to start you right over with a live trainer. We're not going to say, well, you missed your opportunity to be with the live trainer. You're going to just get the canned stuff that's on the licensee support site. No, we wouldn't do that because we want your success. Okay. And I'll also tell you that if you get through that first 10 modules and you need a refresher on something, just get with support. I promise you, they will go over anything that you want to do over a Zoom meeting and anything else. So they're there to help you. So you truly do will have a lifetime access to all of the courses that you're going to take. Okay. The second frequently asked question is, when does the course start and when does it finish? Well, the course starts now and it never ends. That's one thing that you can count on, that it can start now and it never ends. However, it is a completely self-paced online course. You decide with your trainer really when you start and when you finish. So you'll be able to collaborate with your trainer. Okay, you'll get their email information, their contact information. Y'all can text back and forth. So that's all there. Okay, so you can start that at any time. And then lastly, what if I'm unhappy with the course? Okay, so this is, remember I mentioned to you earlier, this is one of those things that when you get through with the course, I got something for you. Within the first 30 days, if you decide this is not for you, just email us back here at support and we will arrange a full refund. Yes, you heard me right. We want you to go through the entire training course. It's going to take you about 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks at the most, but you'll still, at the end of that course, decide whether this is for you. I don't know of another business opportunity or franchise out there that would even risk doing that. But we don't feel like it's a risk. We feel like it's a better way to do business. We always want to be found, as a business that we're easy to get along with, we're easy to work with, and that's what we're here for. Okay.